10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Digam. Pronto, beleza, beleza.
In addition to this primary payload, 2 SpaceX test satellites will be flying as a secondary payload on today's mission. You may get a glimpse of those when the POP satellite deploys, but unfortunately we will lose ground station coverage just after that. So our webcast coverage today will conclude after the deployment of POP. Space Launch Complex 4 at Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is SpaceX's West Coast launch site. On the pad right now, you can see the two-stage Falcon 9 vehicle standing 70 meters tall, which is taller than a 20-story building. The first stage, which makes up the bottom two-thirds of the rocket, provides the initial force to get out of the majority of the Earth's atmosphere. This will, in fact, be the second flight of this first stage, first having been on the Orbisat mission in August of last year. Through that that condensation smoke, you may even be able to see markings from that first flight. However, SpaceX is not planning on recovering this first stage again today. We may hear call-outs in the launch nets as the stage descends through the atmosphere, but no burns will be performed, and we won't be following its progress on the webcast. This is an earlier iteration of Falcon 9 that's already been used once, and at this point, SpaceX is making room for our next iteration of Falcon 9 rockets, which will be qualified to be rapidly reused many times. On top of that first stage, the second stage makes up the rest of the rocket on the pad. This second stage takes the satellite from the edge of space and accelerates to orbital speeds of just over 7.5 kilometers per second, which is 10 times faster than a speeding bullet. At the very top of Falcon 9 is a 17-foot diameter payload fairing, within which is the top spacecraft and the two SpaceX test satellites. Next to the rocket, you can see a white structure to the right. That is the transporter erector, or strongback. Unlike our East Coast launch pads, this transporter erector will recline to 77.5 degrees several minutes before liftoff, unlike our East Coast launch pads, where those ones recline immediately as the rocket leaves the pad. At T-minus 7 minutes and 45 seconds, let's check out exactly how the rocket's doing right now. This Falcon 9 started loading propellants at T-minus 70 minutes. Fuel is currently loaded on the second stage and complete except for topping off on that first stage. Liquid oxygen or LOX loading is in progress on both stages and will continue all the way down to T-minus 3 minutes. The next major activity is going to be engine chill. Right now, the liquid oxygen that we load onto the rocket is extremely cold. And those 9 Merlin engines in stage 1 are at ambient air temperature at Vandenberg Air Force Base. So if we release that LOX into the engines right now, it would immediately warm up and boil, causing bubbles and other unwanted issues. So in a few minutes, we're going to be releasing just a small amount of liquid oxygen into the engines to bring them down to operating temperature. This is the process that you'll hear on the nets called engine chill. Right now, the range has given us a green light for launch. Right now, the satellite has been good as well. Everything's ready for a launch at exactly 6:17 a.m. The weather is unbelievably clear. This is a rare day at Vandenberg Air Force Base. Sometimes the marine light fog is so thick you can't even see the rocket. So we have some beautiful shots. Might even be able to see the rocket from Los Angeles today. We were tracking upper-level winds. Right now, the upper-level winds are about 95% of our launch levels. So we're still good to go, though we are monitoring them as we get down to launch. But ground-level winds and cloud rolls are all looking great. So it looks like we're on track for a 6:17 a.m. launch in just about T-minus 6 minutes.
É isso aí, galera do YouTube. É isso aí, galera. Mais um lançamento aqui, né? Do Falcon 9, né? Na verdade, do Falcon 9, né? O lançamento do mesmo. Aí estão vendo aí qual vai ser o processo para esse lançamento aí. Estão mostrando agora as especificações básicas do satélite, né? As especificações básicas do satélite. Na verdade, vai ser um satélite mais de monitoramento, né? Um satélite mais sobre posições climáticas e tudo mais do satélite PAIS.
Once operational, generating about 100 images a day, covering an area of more than 300,000 kilometers square. And as we mentioned earlier, there are two SpaceX test satellites flying as secondary payloads on this mission. These are meant to gather data in advance of deploying and operating a satellite constellation that will provide internet service. However, even if these satellites are considerable technical work ahead of us to design and deploy a low Earth orbit satellite constellation. Provide people in low to moderate population densities around the world with affordable, high-speed internet access, including many that have never had internet access. You may catch a glimpse of demo stats before the top satellite, but our coverage and focus today will be on our primary payload, which is top satellite. We are just after T-minus 3 minutes away from liftoff. We'll check in one last time with the status of the rocket. Fuel is fully loaded on both stages, and liquid oxygen is topped off as we right now. The rocket is pressurizing itself with helium gas, sort of like a soda can is derived from the strength of the pressure inside. The Falcon 9 is pressurized with gas helium. We press that up just before releasing the strong back. You just saw those cradle arms for the strong back release, and right now the transport erected strong back is required to be launched conditions at 77.5 degrees. Right now, the range is still giving us a good fight to launch. The weather is again looking fantastic. Those upper level winds are still playing nice at 95% launch tolerances. Remember, this is an instantaneous launch window, so if for any reason we decide not to go today, our backup window will be tomorrow at 6:17 a.m. Pacific time. Right now, the rocket's getting ready to launch, so let's listen into those countdown nets as we approach just under T-minus 2 minutes. Falcon 9 is on internal power. Vehicles in self-flight. Gas loads are close down. AFK systems ready. Falcon 9 isn't started.
Aí, galera, um minuto agora para o lançamento do Falcon 9 com o satélite PAIS. Por enquanto, tudo certo, todas as telemetrias do foguete, tudo certo por enquanto. Vamos aguardar.
20. 15. Falcon 9 is configured for flight. 10, 9, 8, 7, For those of you just joining us, you are watching the Falcon 9 as it descends through the atmosphere, carrying the POP satellite to a polar sun-synchronous orbit.
É isso aí, galera. Lançamento com sucesso, né? Do Falcon 9, levando a órbita ao satélite Paz, né? O satélite da agência espanhola, em conjunto com outros países, né? Do bloco europeu.
Vehicles reached maximum aerodynamic pressure. We just passed through our maximum aerodynamic pressure, max Q. That Falcon 9 rocket is now throttling back up, full speed as it descends through the atmosphere. As that first stage ascends higher and higher through the atmosphere, the ambient air pressure starts going further and further down, so you can see those exhaust gases getting bigger and bigger on your camera screen right now. In about 20 seconds, we're going to be passing through what we call MECO, which is main engine cutoff. That's when that first stage is going to complete its burn. Shortly after that, we'll have stage separation, and then second engine start, SES-1. Let's watch that happen now. Yeah, MECO.
Aí, separação do foguete com sucesso, né? Com sucesso, a separação do foguete aí, Falcon 9, levando a órbita ao satélite Paz.
What appears to be a successful second engine start 1. Stand by, preparing deploy. And you just saw it on your screen. That was a successful fairing deploy.
Aí a abertura da coifa, mostrando ali todo o satélite. Uma maravilha mesmo esse lançamento da SpaceX.
Cover this fairing today. On your screen right now, you can see the Merlin Vacuum D engine nozzle. This is a radiatively cooled engine nozzle, meaning that it vents the heat from those looked like a nice clear morning today in Los Angeles.
Aí o segundo motor, né, do segundo estágio, tudo funcionando normalmente com o segundo estágio do foguete Falcon 9. Agora só esperando as imagens da aterrissagem do mesmo na sua base.
As the second stage ascends higher and higher into orbit, let's talk a little bit about exactly what orbit we're going to today. This is a low Earth orbit, polar sun-synchronous orbit. Low Earth orbit refers to the height of the orbit above the Earth, so things such as the International Space Station are also in low Earth orbit, but they orbit more along the equator, which is what's called a low inclination orbit. A polar orbit circles vertically about the Earth with respect to its poles, so that it passes over the north and the south poles. This is the orbit we're going to today. Certain types of polar orbits, like this one, a sun-synchronous orbit, keeps the orbit's plane directly in line with the sun. This allows any satellite that's in a sun-synchronous orbit to see all points of the Earth from exactly the same lighting conditions as illuminated by the sun. This is extremely useful for imaging applications, which would be the POP spacecraft's primary intended purpose. Low Earth orbits only require a single burn, so we won't be having a coast phase or a second engine start 2, like we would normally have for geosynchronous Earth orbit launches.
É isso aí, galera. Esse satélite Paz aí é um satélite artificial radar, né? Do Programa Nacional de Observação da Terra por satélite, né? Criado pelos Ministérios da Defesa e da Indústria, do Comércio e do Turismo do Reino da Espanha. E o mesmo pode operar até o RedSat. Os mesmos operadores do RedSat são os mesmos operadores também do satélite Paz.
And accelerating that POP spacecraft to a low Earth orbit. The next major event is going to be at about T plus 8 minutes and 58 seconds. That's when that second engine cutoff is going to happen, also known as SECO. Right now you can see the curvature of the Earth just behind that Merlin Vacuum D engine nozzle. All telemetry is still looking nominal from that second stage, getting good signal.
Ele vai ser responsável por atender necessidades, né, de vigilância civil e cobrir muitas aplicações diferentes, como defesa e segurança. Praticamente da empresa, né, da empresa espanhola, da agência espanhola, que vai fazer todo o monitoramento do mesmo, né, meu satélite. Ele foi fabricado pela Airbus e pela RedSat, vai ser as duas operadoras espanholas do satélite governamentais, né? O satélite PAD está equipado com um avançado instrumento, né, de radar projetado para ter alta flexibilidade e capacidade de operar em vários modos, permitindo a escolha de várias configurações diferentes de imagem. Ele poderá gerar imagens com resolução de até 25 centímetros, dia e noite, independente das condições meteorológicas. Projetado para uma missão de 5 anos e meio. Ele passará 15 vezes por dia a sua órbita em torno da Terra, cobrindo a Terra a mais de 300 mil quilômetros quadrados em sua altitude de 514 quilômetros. E a velocidade, né, a velocidade do próprio satélite será de 7 quilômetros por segundo. Agora estamos só esperando só a separação do segundo estágio, né? O segundo motor com a separação do mesmo satélite.
And you just saw it on your screen, that was a second engine cutoff right there. The second stage is now completed its burn, and that's Merlin Vacuum engine is off. Good orbit insertion. We just got confirmation of a good orbit. That means that we have reached the intended low Earth orbit point. Right now, the primary payload, that POP spacecraft, is still attached to the top of the second stage by way of a payload adapter fitting.
Infelizmente nessa transmissão não tivemos o pouso, né, do primeiro estágio, né, do satélite Falcon 9.
Push away from the top of the second stage, so that it can begin its own journey into low Earth orbit. We are now 1 minute away from that payload deploy. Like we were saying earlier, we're going to be having or hopefully we'll have a view from the top of the second stage looking at the POP satellite as it deploys. You may see on the sides of the spacecraft, you're going to see two extra things. Those will be the SpaceX demo satellites. We'd love to give you footage of those deploying too, but unfortunately, the second stage will be passing out of ground station coverage before those satellites deploy. So we're just going to be covering that primary payload POP satellite deployment. Stand by for deployment in about 10 to 15 seconds. There you can see.
Aí, separação com sucesso aí do satélite Paz. Separação com sucesso. Separação com sucesso do satélite Paz. Imagens belíssimas, maravilhosas aí da SpaceX. Com a separação do satélite Paz.
So right now, this is going to bring an end to our webcast coverage. For those of you who just joined us, we had a successful launch from Space Launch Complex 4, successful stage separation and a good second engine burn, and then finally, just now, a good separation of that POP satellite. I'd like to thank the customer POP and ISDASat for allowing us to launch the payload to low Earth orbit today. I'd like to thank the Air Force and the Range and the FAA for their support of today's launch, and of course, you, the viewers, for waking up bright and early on this Thursday morning to watch the Falcon 9 launch. Unfortunately, we can't bring you coverage of those SpaceX demo satellites. We don't have ground station coverage to show you, but you can follow us on social media for updates.
Aí, galera. Separação concluída, né, do foguete Paz, ou satélite Paz, né? Junto com o foguete Falcon 9, né? O foguete aí da SpaceX, né? Que levou o satélite Paz até a órbita. Aqui, como você pode acompanhar aqui no nosso canal Astronomia. Esse satélite também, ele faz parte do Instituto de Ciências Espaciais do Conselho Superior de Pesquisas Científicas, né? Pela primeira vez, as medições de ocultações de rádios do GNSS, Sistema de Navegação Global do satélite, serão realizadas em duas polarizações, né, para explorar a capacidade de potenciais da ocultação de polimetria para detectar e qualificar eventos de participação pesada, né? O satélite Paz é construído pela Airbus e também pela agência espanhola, né? Mais um empreendimento dessas duas empresas. E com certeza terão um grande impacto também aqui para a gente também, né? Para a gente que curte e também gosta também, né? De ciência também através dessa operação espanhola.